I legit had this dream last night that I was in a store. I was searching around the store, and I ran into Kevin Harvick. I punched him and flipped him off. And it was a pretty good dream. And that kind of relates to what happened at the end of the Talladega race, where Kevin Harvick, for some strange reason, was mad at Kurt Busch. Yeah. You know why I don't like him now? I think you understand why I don't like him now. But anyways, we're here for the 4th episode of the NAPA Talks NASCAR podcast, and we're talking about what went down at Talladega. And it was actually a relatively calm Talladega weekend, which I'm glad. I don't really like to see the big ones. I mean, I still kind of do, but, you know, it's good to see all those guys in the Cup race on Sunday get out of Talladega without much damage. Of course, a couple guys, they didn't finish, but still, there were very few crashes in the Cup race, at least. The truck race had a few more crashes, but generally, it was a pretty calm Talladega weekend, and I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, didn't really like Logano winning, but, you know, I can't complain too much about that because, you know, he at least won fair and square this time, unlike last year, where it was just all messed up. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and talk about the race at Talladega for both the Truck Series and the Cup Series. We're going to go ahead and start with the Camping World Truck Series. It was a nice race, great race. I'm really glad I watched it. And we had ourselves our first eliminations for the Camping World Truck Series chase, and it went exactly as I predicted, exactly as I expected. Daniel Hemrick and John Hunter, I almost said Joe Nemechek. And I really wasn't a NASCAR fan when Joe Nemechek even drove that much anyway. But John Hunter Nemechek and Daniel Hemrick getting eliminated from the Camping World Truck Series chase at Talladega. And neither of those guys, they were the first two guys in that race to truly have problems. Nemechek blew up early on in the race, and Daniel Hemrick ended up getting caught up in a couple of crashes, and he just could not win the race. That was his only chance of making it on to the next round. But they got knocked out. But the really neat thing about this race is Talladega. Even though I really never rooted for him in the ARCA series, Grant Enfinger got the win at Talladega in the Truck Series, and that was pretty cool. I like GMS racing, you know. I mean, GMS Productions, GMS Racing, that might be kind of why. But I really like that team. Good to see Chevy win, you know. They're probably my favorite manufacturer behind Dodge, and Dodge isn't in NASCAR anymore. So Chevy's probably my favorite manufacturer. But still, it was really cool to see a guy get his first ever win in the Camping World Truck Series. And NASCAR did not throw out the caution at the end of that race because of the Cameron Haley incident. So a good job by NASCAR there on their part, you know, just letting them race to the line and letting Grant Enfinger get his first ever win in the Camping World Truck Series. Of course, we had the big one kind of late in the going when Ben Rhodes got, spun. Well, he didn't get spun, really, but he shot up into the outside wall, came back down, and all heck just broke loose after that, and, ain't Talladega without a big one. But speaking of which, ain't Talladega without a big one, the Cup Series didn't have a big one, and that was okay with me. I was okay with that because, you know what, it's a good thing that, you know, a lot of those guys did not have problems in that race. However, I was wrong about that. There were guys that had problems in that race, most notably Martin Truex Jr. and Brad Keselowski, both failing to advance on to the round of 8 because of issues. They both blew up in the Talladega race. Martin Truex Jr. was really early. That instantly knocked him out. And Brad Keselowski was the dominant guy of that race on Sunday. He would have won if it weren't for the fact that he blew up. But he got that debris on his grill, and that just ended the day for him in the number 2. And Brad Keselowski's out. If I had to choose a Penske guy, I'd choose Brad Keselowski because I like him more than Logano. I would rather have Keselowski move on than Joey Logano, but that's just the way it is. And it was a really calm race. Of course, Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, the other two guys getting knocked out. Not really surprised by that one. Chase Elliott, he got hung out in the back, and he just couldn't go anywhere. I mean, the big problem with the restrictor plate racing right now in the Cup Series, at least, it's pretty good in the Cups or in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. And for the Cup Series, it is just impossible to pass. And that's why Joey Logano won. Because when Keselowski had his incident, Logano was the guy behind him, and he ended up taking the lead, I do believe. And, Logano, once he got out front, nobody was really able to get around him, and he easily won the race on Sunday and advanced on to the round of 8 with that win. So the guys that are moving on, Jimmy Johnson, who won at Charlotte, Kevin Harvick, who won at Kansas. Joey Logano won at Talladega. Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, and Denny Hamlin. All 4 of the Joe Gibbs racing machines are still in the chase. Still in it. So what it is, it's 3 Chevys, 1 Ford, and 4 Toyotas. It's kind of lopsided there, isn't it? I really definitely think that as we head into this next round, we go to Martinsville. Now, here at Martinsville, I think we probably will not get a Toyota winning. As a matter of fact, Toyota has not won since Dover when Martin Truex Jr. won, and none of the 3 guys, or sorry, none of the 4 Joe Gibbs guys still in the chase have won since Richmond. Now, that might not seem like a long time, but for Toyota, that is a long time, and especially for Joe Gibbs Racing, considering how good they have been this season. But still, I think they have an advantage on the other guys in the field. We're just going to have to see. But, hey, you never know what's going to happen. This last round is always very unpredictable. You can never really know who's going to make it on, who's going to be the good drivers who make it on to the next round, because they're all so even, in talent when you think about it. And it can go any way possible. But I think guys who have an advantage are guys like Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's really good at Martinsville and really good at Texas. He has won that Texas race, like the fall Texas race, like the past 4 years. He could go and win that fall Texas race for the 5th year in a row. And if he were to do that, he would be on to the Final 4. And I think at this point, to be honest with you guys, I think the guy I want to see win the championship is Jimmy Johnson. I didn't used to say that. I did not used to say that at all. But, being a fan of Chase Elliott now, I kind of have grown to like the Hendrick guys a lot more. I didn't really used to, but I've grown to like Johnson a lot more. It's a really great sport, compared to a lot of the other guys like Harvick. Can't even get along with his own teammate. But still, I like Johnson. He's a good sport, and he drives a Chevy. And I mean, I'm not saying I hate Toyota or anything. I love Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs is a great guy, and I love to see his team do good. And I pretty much like all of the Joe Gibbs guys as well, except for Kyle Busch, of course. I'm not really a fan of him. But still, I just don't like seeing Toyota dominate. I mean, whenever I watch, like, a replay on the NASCAR YouTube channel, like, I always get this ad where it's, like, the 3 Carl Edwards fans sitting together, and then, this RV comes in, and it pushes out, like, all of their food. But he has a Carl Edwards banner, so, it's like, oh, yeah, you're cool, man. But it's like, I see that commercial all the time, and I see Toyota commercials all the freaking time. And it's just like, is there some kind of, like, secret thing going on that we don't know? It's like Toyota, like, owns NASCAR now. I mean, it's just silly. I mean, I'm not going to say, like, oh, I hate Toyota, oh, they shouldn't be in. But it's like, I don't like seeing them win, to be honest. I'd rather see the Chevys win. Not necessarily the Fords, because that most likely means that Penske's going to win, and I really don't like Penske, but I like seeing the Chevys win because, they're not Toyota. And, I mean, it's kind of good to see that it has been a little bit more spread out now. I mean, mainly I just don't like seeing one manufacturer dominate. I want to see a good parity between all 3 manufacturers winning and all that. So far, that's what we've gotten so far in this chase. So far, Toyota's won twice, Chevy has won 3 times, and now Ford has won a race. So that's pretty good balance there. But to be honest, I really think I want Jimmy Johnson to win the championship. I want to see him get number 7. I really do. I never thought I'd say that, but to be honest, I like Jimmy Johnson. He's starting to become one of my more favorite drivers. A lot of that has to do with liking Chase Elliott, of course, but I really like to see Johnson win his 7th championship in NASCAR. That would be a very historic moment. I'd love to see that. Because, to be honest, the only other guy in this list I really, truly wouldn't mind seeing is, well, I guess a couple guys. Or Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth. I wouldn't mind either of those guys. I mean, I wouldn't even mind Carl Edwards or Denny Hamlin, really. But still, I don't really want to see Logano. I don't want to see Harvick. I don't want to see Kyle Busch win. But those three are probably going to make it onto the Final Four. And I'm going to say my other pick in the Final Four is going to be Jimmie Johnson. So there you go. I made my pick for the Final Four without even trying. But I think it's going to be Jimmie Johnson, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch in the Final Four. And the Toyota's probably going to win. And I still stand by my prediction of Kyle Busch winning the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Championship, even though I don't want him to. But anyways, that is what happened at Talladega, or, that's just kind of with my predictions, I guess. I don't know. What I've been talking about? I don't know. But anyways, Talladega was a very calm race, and hey, I liked it that way. That was fine. But I gotta tell you, that finish was one of the most anticlimactic finishes I have ever seen at that racetrack, and it was, really weird to see no passing on the final lap, which, okay, it wasn't really necessarily weird to see that, but it was really weird not to see them crash the way they were racing back in there. But kudos to them for not crashing. I mean, I don't like seeing, crash fest races in my Inter 2003 races. I really don't like to see it in, any forms of racing, to be honest, because I like to actually see them race, and I didn't used to be like that. When I first became a NASCAR fan, it was all about the crashes, but as I got more into the sport, as I understood the sport a little bit more, I started to become more into the racing and who won and who didn't win. And now that I actually have a true favorite driver in Chase Elliott, I did like David Reagan. He was my favorite driver for a while, but he just doesn't do that good. But now that I got a true favorite driver, it's a lot more fun to watch the Cup Series now. But unfortunately, Chase Elliott's out. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to be too sad about that. I expected it, It's not like he had much of a chance anyway. But anyways, I think that's about it. I mean, it's not like really much happened over this weekend, nothing controversial or anything, other than Joey Logano winning, of course. And the only thing is here's another thing. I almost forgot about this. I'm sorry that I forgot about this, but in that race at Talladega, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards sandbagged, basically. And I understand that some NASCAR fans really weren't happy about that, but I do remember this. When they first implemented this 100% rule, that was back when ESPN was doing NASCAR, I can remember them saying the 100% rule does not apply at Daytona or Talladega. And so, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, they have the right to do that, even though I kind of, wish they didn't. They're focusing on the championship, and they're trying to get a 100% finish on the season. Maybe not necessarily within the race, but they didn't want to be caught up in a crash if it were to happen. And that's why those guys, they kind of stayed back and relaxed, and, nothing really happened in the race, so they could have been in that pack and been just fine. But still, I respect what they did. They're trying to win a championship, and they did a good job. Also, another thing, I really got to apologize for not really covering this stuff really well, but Denny Hamlin actually just barely made it in to the top 8. He just edged out Kurt Busch for 3rd place, and because of that, he tied with Austin Dillon in the points, but Hamlin has a tiebreaker, I do believe, because he has more wins this season. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker is for something like that. It's either the highest finish within the round of the chase or the most wins, but I'm going to assume it was the most wins, and Hamlin has had at least 2 wins this season, I think. I know he won Richmond. I can't remember if he won anywhere else. I don't know. It's been crazy lately. But anyways, yeah, those are a couple things there that I didn't actually get to talking about earlier on, and I'm glad I kind of did there. But yeah, the Kenseth, Busch, and Edwards thing there, I respect what they did. They're trying to win a championship. And this, I think, is a big reason why NASCAR is moving this Talladega race to the 5th race of the season and make it so that it's not an elimination race. Because I feel like it's better in that position, for one thing, because Talladega is just too crazy to have an elimination race, in my opinion. And I think it prevents things like Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards doing things like that. Because if you have a bad day at Talladega now, for next year. Now that it's in the middle of the round, you can have a bad day and still have a chance next week at Kansas. So I like that idea. I like that they moved it to the 5th race of the season instead of the 6th race of the chase. 5th race of the season, what am I saying? 5th race of the chase instead of the 6th race of the chase there. So that it prevents things like what Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards did. Because, for one thing, fewer guys will be locked on to the next round. And 2, you don't have to worry as much because it's not an elimination race. So a good move by NASCAR for moving Talladega up a little bit from last season. But anyways, that is it for me. It's kind of a, average talk show today, but that's just the way it is sometimes. And to be honest, not much really happened here at Talladega, but I think a lot's going to happen at Martinsville because Martinsville always has a lot of cautions. And that's one of my favorite races of the year is Martinsville. One of my favorite racetracks. I love Martinsville. And Jeff Gordon. Remember when I said back in my Chase predictions video that I thought Jeff Gordon was going to win at Martinsville? He's going to be racing this Sunday. I think he's got a shot at winning in what I do believe will be his final ever NASCAR start. We're just going to have to see. I'd love to see that. Hey, but we're just going to have to see on Sunday. Saturday, we got the trucks at Martinsville as well. And next week, I will discuss what went down in the Truck Series and the Cup Series at the Paperclip. So thank you guys very much for watching. Tomorrow, we got ourselves the Turkey Hill Series from Road America. Thursday, we got ourselves qualifying for the Kubota Sports Car Championship at Watkins Glen. Friday is the Turkey Hill Series at Watkins Glen. And the Turkey Hill Series is Friday for this week because the Kubota Sports Car Championship is going to be running Saturday morning at the Glen for the 2 hours of the Glen. There will also be a special video Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Turkey Hill Series race is going to be uploaded at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday to make room for that very special video, so you guys will see what it is when it gets uploaded October 29th. No, October 28th, right here on NAPFan. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and that is it for me. So I will see you guys later.